rolls around in 2016. Justin Fuente and Matt Rule. You talk about coaching prospects whose stocks are on the rise. These two will be two of the most coveted with all the job openings out there.
Yeah, what they've been able to do at both of their respective places, openings around the country want that type of energy and that type of success.
Temple will start at its own 25-yard line. The Owls started 7-0. They've lost 2 of 3. One of the few bright spots of late, though, has been the quarterback, P.J. Walker. The coaches told us the light bulb has gone on for him.
Well, he's a dual-threat guy, one of those traditional players, and he's been more in the pocket this year and shown that he can be a pocket passer. But he's also a player that when he gets loose can extend plays, very athletic, and will be used today in some design quarterback runs.
Walker needs one more touchdown pass to tie the all-time Temple record. Walker to the air on first down, incomplete, intended for Robbie Anderson. Chauncey Lanier on the coverage, and we have our first penalty.
Pass interference, number 12 of the defense. 15-yard penalty automatic, first down.
That's been the underbelly of this Memphis defense all season long, the secondary.
Yeah, I think when you look back at this play, it's great coverage. He's got to turn his head around. When you've got that type of position, when you're in the wide receiver's hip pocket, I thought he was a little handsy, too much hands up top. If you are going to put those hands, put them down lower where the official will let you play through your physical touch.
On the ground for the first time. And that is David Hood getting the start for Temple with a gain of 6. Only his 22nd carry of the season. Temple rewards its best practice players during the week with starts, and Hood had the best practice week of any of the Temple running backs.
Speaking of Matt Rule, that's one of the adjustments and changes he's made since coming to Temple. And what I think it does is it makes practice important. And for players, sometimes you need that extra motivation.
Run it again. It's Hood, and he's about a yard shy of the line to gain. So 3rd and 1 coming up for the Temple Owls. Temple began the season 7-0. That was the best start in school history. They were ranked for the first time since 1979. Almost beat Notre Dame here in Philadelphia with game day in town. Came back with a win against SMU, but the defense was torched in that game, giving up 40. And the Owls lost last week in blowout fashion against South Florida. On 3rd and short, the give is to Jihad Thomas. Flag on the play. Thomas with a lot of room inside the 25 and down to the 20-yard line. A big run by the second leading rusher in the American. 31 yards if it stands.
Holding for 75 of the offense. 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's the left guard, Shabazz Ahmed. And there's an injured player.
And those types of penalties just kill your momentum. You got something going, and you pretty much just gave back the yards that Memphis gave you on a pass interference call. And now you're back to a 3rd and long situation. And you had the right play call dialed up. Poor execution is what is bringing this back.
Regis Ball is the Temple, or rather the Memphis player that's down near midfield. He's one of the emotional leaders on this defense and really the most experienced player in this Tigers secondary.
Yeah, he popped up there trying to show the coaches, I'm ready to get back out on the field. But you mentioned it, what he means to this team there as the safety. A lot of times he's the guy responsible for setting up members in the secondary.
So 3rd and 1 becomes 3rd and 11 after the penalty. Walker with time. And that's hauled in by Robbie Anderson for the first down. Anderson missed all of last season. He was academically ineligible.
Well, you asked about P.J. Walker and his development. Watch here, just a simple corner route from the inside wide receiver, but he threw this ball to a location and not necessarily to a wide receiver. Threw it into an open window, which allowed his wide receiver space to go out and make a catch and move the chains.
Walker more picks than TDs last year. He's been much better this year. And that loss to Notre Dame, according to the coaches, gave him confidence that he can play against anybody. Downfield again. And that is knocked away. Arthur Mollett with a nice defensive play for Memphis.
That's great coverage. I mean, just perfect way to finish the play as well. The young man there from Harvey, Louisiana, coming up big for his team on first down.
And again, Temple looking in the direction of Robbie Anderson, who against Memphis 2 years ago had a career-high 3 touchdowns. Here's Jihad Thomas on the counter. And he takes it inside the 40-yard line for a gain of 6. Thomas, a junior in the midst of a breakout season. He's had a rushing touchdown in every game. And with that last run, he's now 9th on Temple's single-season rushing yards list.
He's a smooth athlete. Perhaps his best game came versus Notre Dame. But when you watch him, he doesn't accelerate. It doesn't look like he's moving as fast as he is, but he does a good job of finding the right spaces and running through them.
He's a little banged up as well. Hurt his calf, was limited in practice this week. Thomas once more. He is spun down inside the 30 by Christian Johnson as we take a look at our impact players.
Well, there he goes right there. This young man, Jihad Thomas, didn't practice much this week, but it doesn't matter. The kid still remembers how to play football. It's like riding a bike. And on the opposite side, number 34, Jackson Dillon. They refer to his position as dog. You will see him all over the field. He's a very versatile defender, perhaps the most versatile defender on the Memphis defense. He will rush the passer, drop back in coverage, cover man-to-man. You'll see him do everything today.
That's a kid who grew up hog tying and calf roping, quite literally.
I love it.
Back to Jihad Thomas here on first down. The ball is out. Memphis says they have it. Still no signal from the Stripes. And now they say it is Memphis football, so Temple turns it over on its opening drive.
Jihad Thomas here just trying to make some moves. And when you're an elusive back like this that has lateral movement, the one thing that you've got to do when making a cut, you've got to get that ball high and tight across your body so that defenders can't poke it out. When it's loose like this, you see just there, that left part, not getting that elbow inside, not crossing the football across his chest, that's when fumbles occur.
Donald Pennington forced the fumble. Noah Robinson recovered. And we get our first look at this Memphis offense as Dorland Dorsey picks up 3. Dorsey is coming off a 100-yard game, but he makes it go for the Tigers, who have lost 2 straight. Paxton Lynch, he could be the #1 pick of the draft next year. Mose Frazier motions. On the ground, Dorsey and he is to the 33, and he is tackled by Tyler Matakevich, the lifeblood of this Temple defense.
2 plays, 2 tackles for Matakevich. The young man is just all over the field and has a nose for the football. Big third down here. These are the moments where Paxton Lynch thrives the most.
Memphis, one of the best in the nation on third down. Temple, one of the best third down defenses. Lynch on the run, and that ball is dropped by Tevin Jones. And the Tigers go 3 and out off the turnover.
Ouch, that hurts. You execute the play to perfection. You find a little space in the defense, and Jones just can't catch the football. And another unique thing that I like to see is you saw that last play. They will move Lynch and change his launching point where he's at and make it hard for the defense to guess where he's going to be. He's not just a pocket passer, very athletic quarterback.
Temple's had a knack for blocking kicks this season. This one takes a bounce inside the 30, and it'll be down at the 28. When we come back, why Justin Fuente might have a reason or few to stay on Beale Street.
Hello, Bill.
You're watching the American Conference on ESPN, and Memphis fans might be wondering how much longer will they see Justin Fuente patrolling the Tigers sideline. There was a report today that Memphis made him, quote, an extraordinary offer to remain the Tigers head coach for the foreseeable future. The offer reportedly came after Memphis's win against Ole Miss. It would make him one of the highest paid Group of 5 coaches, and the deal would compare favorably to the one Tom Herman is expected to get at Houston. Again, no word if Herman would accept that. David Hood on the carry, and we've got a flag.
Personal foul, face mask, number 34 of the defense. 15-yard penalty at the end of the run, automatic, first down.
And certainly whether Fuente leaves or whether he stays, you would think that a, quote, extraordinary offer would give him something to think about.
Yeah, he's a man with a young family. There will be some tough decisions that will have to be made. I can assure you this, other programs will come and will want his services in the future. There's no question about it. So he will have to make a tough decision.
Play action. Walker over the middle. There's Anderson. Inside the 30, and finally pushed out of bounds after a gain of 32 yards by Regis Ball.
This play was just executed to perfection. Down from the protection to everything else. Just fantastic. And in talking to the coaching staff earlier this week, they said part of the reason why Walker has played so much better, we have given him ownership of the game plan. He comes in during the week. He tells the coaches what he would like to run, and one of his favorite targets is Anderson, and you can see why with the kid's ability to make things happen after the catch.
Anderson's the top receiver for Temple. Hood lunges ahead to the 20 for a gain of 5, brought down by the sophomore DN Christian Johnson. Temple likes to possess the ball. Navy did that to Memphis a few weeks ago, and that really threw the Tigers' offense completely out of kilter.
You're absolutely right, and sometimes that's the best defense. And when you look at it, you know, even going back to that fumble in the last series, they hadn't lost a fumble in previous 4 games. It's a team that protects the football and, as you said, controls the clock.
Here's Hood, spins away from one defender, and he's inside the 20 to the 17-yard line, a gain of 3. You look at how much better Temple has been in the time of possession department. A lot of that is because they've really ditched the up-tempo, no-huddle offense.
Yeah, Matt Rule said, he said, you know, I know it's, at this point, it's not the hot new thing to do, but I like it. And so for him, he understands the importance of being a former linebacker there at Penn State. He understands what it means to get rest if you're on the defensive side of the ball.
Walker able to corral the snap. Looking for Anderson. And is that intercepted? It is. Ball with the pick and another turnover forced by Memphis. You did see a flag at the end of the play. And I think they might get Ball for spiking it.
That's just a silly play after making a wonderful athletic play to come up with the interception.
Rolling on the field is an interception on the 1-yard line. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct by number 39 of the intercepting team. Half the distance to the goal, Memphis Ball, first down. That's 39's first unsportsmanlike foul of the game.
One more unsportsmanlike and Ball would be ejected. As for the penalty itself, it only really moves Memphis back, what, a half yard?
Yeah, that's just great concentration there, and that ball kind of careened back and forth between Anderson and Ball, but Ball comes down with it, and that's what's most important. And I tell you what, watching defensive coordinator Galen Scott meet him at about the 5-yard line and give him an earful explains to you how silly that penalty was. You make a great play, and as you said, it's not a lot here, but when your offense is backed up like this, that can be costly.
5th career interception for Ball. And Memphis will start in the shadow of its own goalpost. Dorsey is the deep back. Temple very good up front. Lynch changing the play. And that's why it helps to have a 6'7", 245-pound quarterback. If you need a little breathing room, he just has to fall.
Yeah, and that's one way to get some room there if you're backed up. And you said it, at 6'7", 245, Deltona, Florida, this kid is special. And, you know, I had to ask the coaches yesterday, I said, this kid legitimately 6'7", because he doesn't move like it. A former basketball player that still moves like a basketball player.
Near sideline, Mose Frazier. The tackle credited to Matakevich. It's a gain of 5 yards. Frazier, the top receiver for Memphis. It's a receiving core comprised mostly of former walk-ons. 5 of the top 6 Tiger wideouts were once walk-ons. Here's the blitz on 3rd down. Frazier over the middle. And he's got the first down as the Tigers will move the change. It's a gain of 12.
I'm not sure when I watch film that there's a better quarterback in the country at dissecting what's going on the defensive side of the ball in pre-snap reads. That time, he sends motion across, knew he had one-on-one on the backside, and found the wide receiver on the slant. That's what makes Lynch so special.
Lynch again, but Temple read that all the way. Tavon Young blew that play up.
This guy gets me exciting when I watch him as a former cornerback. He's so physical. But then you add this element to the game, the understanding, know what's coming next, fighting off blocks, finishing off tackles. This is a young man that will be playing on Sundays for sure. In my opinion, I think it's a shutdown, lockdown corner that people at the next level will think the same thing of.
Screen pass on 2nd and long. Dorcius corrals it. Gets a block. He's across the 25. Still churning, and Dorcius able to get to the 35, a gain of 19 and a first down. There is a flag.
There is no foul on the play for an illegal block below the waist. Result of the play is first down.
We saw what Dorcius can do as a receiver last week at a 61-yard touchdown reception against Houston, and that was SportsCenter top 10 worthy.
Yeah, and it was on a screen. A different screen than what you just saw there, but it's a great way for them to get in. You know, it's almost like an added running game, if you will, to be able to dump it down to your backs and for them to be special like he was just there.
Off play action, Lynch on the move and able to get rid of it. Tavon Young got his hand on it. It's incomplete. Paxton Lynch at 6'7". He's not a runner, but he is deceptively quick as he comes up a little banged up after that last play.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. Let's see if we can see what happens on the end of it. Good job from this Temple defense chasing him down there in the final effort. He just gets dragged down, and they get right underneath it there. Hassan Reddick was the young man that rolled up on that ankle of Lynch.
Lynch remains in the game. They'll hand it off. It's Jarvis Cooper to the 40. And 3rd down coming up for Memphis. And Lynch still looks a little gimpy back there. Todd McShay has the Memphis quarterback rated as the top QB that's draft eligible. And that means you're in position to potentially be the #1 overall draft pick. Lynch's pass is low. It's caught by Alan Cross. This will be close to the first down. It'll depend on the spot. And it is enough for a first down. Alan Cross came to Memphis as a walk-on long snapper. He will leave as a first-team all-conference tight end.
Yeah, I just really love how they use him, you know, and in talking to the coaching staff, they said he's a tweener in all positions. He's not a wide receiver, he's not a tight end, he's not a fullback, but he does everything better than anybody else in all 3 of those areas.
On the sweep, Sam Kraft has a little bit of room, and Kraft Torpedoes ahead to the 30-yard line for a gain of 24. Alex Wells finally took him down. Justin Fuente telling us teams playing this Memphis offense differently of late. A lot of soft coverage, making this Tiger offense take what's underneath. And miscommunication there as Lynch's pass sailed on Anthony Miller. Last week, Miller did not play, hurt himself during pregame warmups.
And you just start to wonder with Lynch. You saw that ankle get rolled up on. That's either his plant foot or his lead leg, which either one. And I can tell you this much: as a quarterback, you really need that to get the umph in your throw and to be able to be as accurate as he needs to be for them to win this football game.
And again, changing the play, what he does pre-snap, so crucial to this offense. There's Oglesby using the stiff arm, and he somehow works his way out of that ambush.
Wow. That was special. I mean, when you call that play as an offensive coordinator, you're not expecting that type of performance. But I tell you what, you get more touches if the coaches can see that you're that type of player. That was just fantastic work there from the young man from Orlando, Florida.
They've got a lot of different receivers who they'll use, and on any given Saturday, any of those wideouts could be the alpha. Against the four-man rush, there's Frazier. And he's taken down just shy of the 10 by Sean Chandler. Long drive here for Memphis that started at the Tiger 1-yard line.
And here's where the tempo just really starts to wear down on a defense. When you're going this fast, it's hard to adjust and get set.
Oglesby breaks the tackle in the backfield. And then he's taken down on that near sideline by Jared Alwan. Third down coming up for Memphis. This will be the 14th play of the drive.
And we have not seen Memphis move the pocket with Lynch since that first third down. Maybe now is the time to get him on the move and allow him to have the ability to run for the first down or to throw for it.
Cross motions. You called it, Ahmad. Cross in the flat, and he dropped it. It's incomplete. Oh, that would have been a touchdown for Alan Cross.
The second drop on a crucial third down for Memphis. Now is not the time. And he walks in the end zone if he catches this football. And I'm not so sure that wasn't a catch. That was a really close call. It looked like he might have had two down there. But at the end of the day,
not reviewable since they ruled it incomplete.
Yeah, that's just a tough play. You have the right play call made. The quarterback finds the right man to throw the football to, and Cross, who's been reliable for this team, just couldn't come through.
Field goal for Jake Elliott is good. He missed what could have been the game winner last week. A strong start for the Memphis kicker, and the Tigers with 3 points off a Temple turnover.
Hey, Mom.
Gift that keeps on throwing. Now at the...
This was just a few minutes before kickoff. A Memphis player waving the American flag, a Temple player waving the French flag, as we show solidarity with our brothers and friends overseas after the attacks last week in Paris. Tigers with a 3-0 lead after capitalizing off a Temple turnover. The Owls' first 2 drives have resulted in TOs. P.J. Walker will just heave one toward the sideline. 2nd and 10. And we say hello to the studio and to Brendan Fitzgerald.
Thanks very much, Anish. We go to the ACC. Frank Beamer's final home game in Blacksburg, but it's North Carolina with the quick start. Marquise Williams around the left side. 18 yards later, he's in the end zone. North Carolina leads 7-0. Back to you.
UNC has won 9 in a row, and they are in the playoff conversation. If they are a one-loss team and they can knock off Clemson, who could be unbeaten in the ACC championship, it'd be hard to leave UNC out of the playoffs. Walker to Anderson. He's got his 3rd catch. And it's a gain of 9, so 3rd and short coming up for Temple.
Anderson is not intimidated by traffic. And a lot of times wide receivers are players that don't like to be hit. You know, they love to be in the press clippings, but Anderson, you saw him there. 3 defenders barreled down on him, and the young man still manages to catch the football, and he's done that all season long.
On 3rd and short, Temple brings in freshman Jagger Gardner at running back. He ripped off a 94-yard TD run against SMU. That's the longest run in school history. Gardner will run to the side of the 2 tight ends. And that was pure power football as Temple moves the chains.
Yeah, and I love the way he kept those legs churning. You know, when you're trying to break through a tackle, that's what you do. The lower half is typically where defenders try to attack you, right around the midsection. And that time there, Gardner made it extremely difficult for wimpy tackles to be able to bring him down because he just kept on moving those feet and moving those legs.
Gardner again, and he picks up 3. It'll bring up 2nd and 7. College football at 3:30 on ABC. Michigan State, Ohio State. Over the last 2-3 years, this has been the defining game in the Big Ten Conference. Ezekiel Elliott can maybe strengthen his Heisman case. Ohio State looking to stay unbeaten. Buckeyes have Michigan next week, and Michigan State with a win would vault right back into that playoff conversation. Gardner keeps it on 2nd and 7, and he's going to be 2 yards shy of the marker, so 3rd and 2 for Temple. Ahmad, you wondered about Memphis' psyche coming into this game. This was a Tigers team that started 8-0, best start since 1938. A few weeks ago, they were playing for everything, a conference championship, maybe a spot in a New Year's Six Bowl, and some even saw them as a dark horse playoff contender. All that is now off the table, especially after that grueling loss where they blew a 20-point fourth-quarter lead against Houston. You wondered how much was left in the tank. Another running play here on 3rd and 2, and that time Memphis' defense comes up with the stop. Big stop there on 3rd down. They forced 2 turnovers. I think they've answered the question if they're motivated in this first quarter.
They've still got a lot to play for in terms of what this team can do for program history. You know, before Justin Fuente arrived, this was a program that had won 5 games in 3 seasons. Over the last 2 seasons, if they win today, this will be the 19th win in 2 seasons. That would make it a school record. So you see the motivation. The motivation is there. These are competitors. This is a team that knows how close they were, but they're still trying to climb the ladder in the world of college football.
Memphis will take a 3-0 lead to the second quarter. The Tigers getting their 3 points off of a Temple turnover. The Owls turned it over twice in the first 15 minutes.
Big
Stella, Temple's live mascot. Temple known as the Owls because the school's origin was that of a night school. 4th and 1 to start the second quarter, and Temple comes out with its offense on the field with the ball at the Owls' 45. And this may just be a ploy to drive the defense off sides. No, they'll run the play. It's Jahad Thomas. And judging by the spot, it looks like he's going to be short. They're going to measure. Well, Temple's had 2 turnovers already. And if they don't get this, in essence, it's another turnover. Memphis ball.
That's just a great job from this Memphis defense. And you start talking about when you've got big bodies in there like that, you've got to be physical. You've got to be aggressive. You know, whether this Memphis defense knew that they were going to go for it or not, they were prepared, they were ready, and they finished off the play. And a nice job of the spot there by the officials there. It looked accurate to me.
You know, if you crunch the numbers, statistically, that is the right call. But do you agree with Matt Rhule's decision?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, this team, before they got this ball, were averaging 7 yards a pop.
That's Paxton Lynch right back to the line of scrimmage, maybe lost a yard. Now a chance for Memphis here to go up 2 scores as they begin in plus territory.
Justin Fuente yesterday said, in talking about Lynch, he said, we could run the wheels off of this guy, but we also know how important he is to the football team, so look for him to get involved in the running game at some point.
Off play action. They'll dump it off to his running back. Jamarius Henderson takes it to the 42. 3rd down coming up for Memphis. That last tackle by Tyler Matakevich. That is his 100th tackle. And he is now just the 7th player in FBS history with 4 100 tackle seasons.
One of my favorite football players in all of college football. His story is amazing, and I love the energy and effort in which he plays with on every play.
3rd down pass is complete, and that will move the chains. Phil Mayhew has really come on the last 3 weeks for Memphis.
Yeah, and Lynch there recognized the blitz from the field and went immediately to the boundary where he had a one-on-one opportunity.
Tigers going quickly. Kraft looking for the edge and tripped up by Tavon Young. That's the 2nd terrific play by Young on the perimeter.
Yeah, and he looks a little banged up there, a little woozy after the tackle. But that's just a fantastic effort, and that's what I love about this young man when you watch him on film. Watch his ability to close here and then to finish off the play. Looks like he got kneed right underneath that left arm. But what a fine effort. If he doesn't contain this play, it goes for big yardage. But the cornerback took the appropriate angle and then finished off the tackle. One of the finest corners in all of America.
Defensive coordinator Phil Snow said Young was about 160 pounds when Snow first got here. But this kid will stay late in the football offices, 10, 11 p.m. watching video.
Love it.
Student of the game. Henderson again, and he's inside the 30. Henderson was too banged up to play last week. Memphis will rotate its running backs. They've got about 4, and we've seen all of them so far. Here we go again, another 3rd down. Memphis 3 out of 5 on 3rd downs, 51% on the season. Lynch in trouble, gets rid of it. And that's going to be short of the marker. No gain. Pressure that time coming from Temple. And who else? Number 8, Matakevich.
Yeah, he's just got a nose for the football here and pulls up the quarterback, forced him to make a short throw, didn't give him an opportunity to look downfield. Watch how he attacks the football. And this guy doesn't miss. When he gets his hands on you, you watch film, very few plays where he gets his hands on you and he doesn't drag you down.
So another chance for Elliott, this one from 46. The kick is up and good. So if you thought his confidence was shaken after the miss last week, you're wrong. He's got 2 field goals. It's 6-0 Memphis.
Need new tires? Right now at Pep Boys, when you get 3 Falcon, Cooper, or Hankook tires, you get the...
Well, last week, Memphis had a 20-point 4th quarter lead against Houston. The Cougars took the lead. Memphis had a chance to go up in the final minute here. Jake Elliott, normally reliable, missed a 48-yarder. But against Temple a season ago, he made the 31-yarder as time expired in this very stadium for a 16-13 Memphis win. He missed a long kick last week, but simply put, he is one of the best kickers, not just in the American Conference, but nationally.
That's a difficult job to do. During the week, players and teammates make fun of kickers and punters because they don't do a lot. But on game day, their roles are so vital and important, especially in close ball games when everything's on the line.
Gardner will watch this bounce outside of the end zone. And Temple ball at the 25-yard line. Make sure you get the Watch ESPN app. It is free. It allows you to watch all the games. And if you want to multitask right now, you got North Carolina, Virginia Tech on ESPN. Frank Beamer's final home game as the Hokies head coach. And Iowa on ESPN2 looking to stay perfect. Big test for the Hawkeyes next week when they go to Lincoln to take on Nebraska. Three drives for Temple. They fumbled it away the first time, an interception at the 1 on the second drive, and turned it over on downs near midfield last time out. Another fumble, this time Jihad Thomas able to cover it up. It's a loss of 5, though, and it's 2nd and 15.
Yeah, this is beyond jitters. When you start moving into the second quarter, right now they're just off sync, and a lot of it might have to do with Jihad Thomas did not practice a lot this week. But these are two high school teammates, so they've done this millions of times, handing off the football. But when you don't practice, that's when you work on your footwork, your timing, and the ability to make sure that you have a clean handoff.
Out of the backfield, that's Hood. And he's across the 35 for a Temple first down.
Just a nice play design there from Temple as they moved the running back who lined up in the slot, motioned him across the field, snuck him right out into the flat, and Walker read the defense, found his back, checked it down, and they were able to get a first down.
Walker slings one across the middle, and that is hauled in by Ventel Bryant. The redshirt freshman has more receptions and receiving yards than any other Temple freshman in the history of this program.
Yeah, but when you've got a guy like Walker throwing it to you, yesterday we asked the coaches about his arm strength and his ability to be able to make all the throws. That time there, he threw it in a very tight window with tremendous velocity and zip on the football. And, you know, he just continues to develop as a passer, which makes him one of the more dangerous quarterbacks in the country.
David Hood tripped up in the backfield, still able to get a couple of yards. 2nd and 8. Part of Walker's improvement attributed to the addition of quarterbacks coach Glenn Thomas. He was Matt Ryan's QB guru for years in Atlanta, and they've simplified a lot of the game planning and a lot of the mechanics that have to do with playing quarterback.
That helps. When I don't have to think a lot, I can just go out there and play freely, and that's what he's looked like he's done over the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Walker stands in. He's got his tight end, Colin Thompson. And the Florida transfer takes it inside the 20. Finally brought down by Lanier. It's a gain of 33.
Yeah, I like watching Colin Thompson play. You'll see him here. He lines up on the left side of your screen, and he just pretends to block, releases out in a seam route. P.J. Walker knew it was coming and found him with an excellently thrown football. But the things that stand out when you watch Colin Thompson on film, he's an excellent blocker, but you see there, he also has the ability to catch the football. When you got a middle-of-the-field threat like that, it certainly does make it easier on the quarterback.
Gardner, and a freshman, pushes inside the 15. Well, moving the ball has not been an issue for Temple. Finishing drives has. 3rd time already in this first half, Temple inside the Memphis 30. The other 2 drives ended in turnovers. And last week, in 5 red zone trips in the loss to South Florida, only 2 touchdowns. Walker changes things up. Looking for Anderson. And he cannot hold on. Covered by Mollett.
Walker moved the running back over. He saw the pressure coming, which gave him the time to find his favorite target, Anderson. And the ball could have maybe been thrown a little bit further outside, but if you're Anderson, you've got to stack the defensive back so that he's now behind you, where it makes it a lot easier for the quarterback to either lead it out in front of you or throw it over your left shoulder. That time there, Anderson was covered very well by Memphis, and these are the plays where if you're a cornerback and you know that you've got that fade route happening to you in the end zone, that is where you make your money as a defensive back, and Memphis today has made a few of those plays near the goal line.
Second one by Mollett. End zone again, and that's caught for a touchdown. Ramon DeLoach.
He went back to the same exact play with a different matchup. And that was just a phenomenal throw. I think the catch was a tad bit better. But watch it here, the body control, the ability to find the football, stay in bounds. No question about it in my mind, that's a catch. DeLoach there, the young man, 6'4", 214 pounds. He's not a big guy, but he's a tall guy. And those are the types of targets you look for in the red zone. The young man from Hampton, Virginia, making a big play for the Owls.
And with that touchdown pass, P.J. Walker now has 49 for his career. He is tied with Henry Burris for most in Temple history. Extra point by Jones is good.
You talked about his leadership. You talked about his ability to make plays. This young man is showing he can be special for sure. P.J. Walker doing his thing.
I want you looking at me. Tell me what you see. Illuminated by the hand of God.
PNU College Football All-State Saturday Kickoff. Brought to you by Samuel Adams for the love of beer and the City Double Cash Card.
When you come to Philadelphia, you go for a cheesesteak, and the tourist places are Pat and Gino's. You talk to the locals, they send you to Jim's.
Yeah, I went. It was loud in there. The atmosphere was great. It felt like a football game, and the food was fantastic.
Just don't say downtown Philadelphia.
Yeah, Center
City.
Okay, I got it.
Temple to kick off. P.J. Walker's touchdown pass to Ramon DeLoach has gotten the Owls on the board and in the lead. Oglesby brings this one out to the 23-yard line. Let's take a look at our drive recap brought to you by Jared.
It's a good play there from Walker to find his running back out in the flat. And then he finds his tight end down the seam, Thompson, for a big catch. And after going to it again for the second time, DeLoach with a big catch, and they finish it off with the hands raised, touchdown, Temple. Despite having some early turnovers and some mistakes, are now leading this ball game.
Memphis back to work on offense. Low throw. He'd be down right where he caught that. Well, they say it's incomplete. This is a Tigers offense that averages almost 44 points per game. They're closing in on the school record for most points in a season. And a lot has to do with having maybe the best quarterback in all of college football.
I think that's where you start. And I also think they've got a really good scheme in place, and they spread the football around and make it hard for defenses to guess where the football's going.
Lynch, a little speed option. And Dorland Dorcius gets back to the line of scrimmage, 3rd and 10.
Great job there from the safety. Doing a fine job. I believe it was Alex Wells really spinning down and forcing that ball back inside to his defenders.
Matt Rule told us yesterday, Temple not intimidated by Paxton Lynch. They respect him. But he said, listen, We faced Christian Hackenberg, Blake Bortles a few years ago, Teddy Bridgewater. We've seen pro quarterbacks as Lynch completes the pass, but it's well short of the first down marker, and the Tigers will have to kick it away.
I love the energy they just showed on that third down. Guys were flying all over the place, running to the football, and when they got there, they had ill intent. They were trying to bring the pain. This Temple defense there did a good job of getting off of the field and now looks to give their offense good field position.
Chandler back deep to receive this punt. Fields it at the 25. And then dropped at the 31. 6:52 to go in the first half. Temple with a 1-point lead.
Need new tires? Right now at Pep.
Temple lost to South Florida last week, so the Owls, if they want to win the East Division in the American Conference, have to finish a game better than USF. The Bulls won big against Cincy last night, and South Florida closes the season against winless and hapless UCF, which means Temple probably has to win out to get to the conference championship game.
I would agree. South Florida looked great last night, by the way. They really poured it on.
Off play action, P.J. Walker. Nearly intercepted, almost turnover number 3. Chauncey Lanier had his mitts on that. Remember last week against Houston, Lanier dropped what could have been the game-sealing interception.
He was just in the right position. He baited the quarterback in cover 2 to throw the route that beats cover 2, the corner route. Gets his hands on the football, and a lot of wide receivers will tell you that's the reason why he's playing on defense, that he can't catch the football. But a fine job there. He just has to finish the play.
You were a former DB. What do you remember more, the passes you get beat on or those near picks?
The passes you get beat on. You never live those down. I don't care what position you play. You remember when you lose matchups.
This is Walker, and the junior out of Elizabeth, New Jersey, gets to the 36. Temple got off to its best start in school history, 7-0. That set up a showdown on Halloween against Notre Dame with game day in town. And with the Owls and the Irish ranked, Temple nearly upset Notre Dame. They took the Irish to the brink. But since that loss to Notre Dame, the defense gave up 40 to SMU, and then 40+ to South Florida. And Temple has dropped 2 of 3 since that great start. Walker across the middle. Brandon Shippen. Nobody in front of him. Can Memphis catch him? They do, but he takes it inside the 20. Lanier ran him down, but not before a 50-yard pickup.
The guy who makes the tackle is the guy who missed the interception. Montgomery, Memphis offense should be back out on the field. But this was just an underneath route, a drag as they call it. Walker doing a good job. He's not the tallest guy at 6'1", 100 pounds, but he found the right arm slot and angle to get the ball out in traffic. And then the run after the catch was enough to make any fan excited about it. As he's a little banged up on the play there, it looked like he might have rolled up on that shoulder, but Shippen there showing his ability to make things happen once he's got the football in his hands.
The senior who began his career at Temple as a defensive back. That's why they moved him to receiver.
Oh, boy. Watch this tackle here from behind. Montgomery, as he's falling down, watch that shoulder. Anytime that left arm is extended or you don't fall properly on it, you risk an injury. Maybe a shoulder injury, an arm injury. You see him there holding that left arm. That's what it appears to be like.
Meanwhile, it's the same movie for Temple. They're able to move the ball. They've done it on all of their drives in this first half. Then you look up at the scoreboard, only 7 points. A couple of turnovers and a turnover on downs factored in. And credit this Memphis defense, which has been bent, but it really hasn't broken. Hood running to the outside, looking for room. It's just not there as he's swallowed up by that Tiger front.
Nice job of just stringing out the play and forcing the running back to run east and west rather than north and south. And good defenses know how to do that. What that allows is it gives you the ability as a defense to run the ball down, to chase it down. but you have to play team defense to do that, and Memphis doing a fine job of defending that play.
There's Noah Robinson, the sophomore out of Worcester, Massachusetts. Temple averaging almost 8 yards per play so far in this first half.
Here's the fullback, Nick Sharga, also plays as a linebacker. The ball usually goes behind him when they are running the football.
Temple takes their first time out of the half.
Timeout, Matt Rule, 4:41 to go in the half. Temple driving. Celebrating its 11th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship money. With Ahmad Brooks and Ishraff here at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Temple leading Memphis 7-6. The Owls on the move again in the red zone. It's 2nd and 9 from the 14.
And they've brought in different personnel, Temple has.
Robbie Anderson, the top wide receiver at the bottom of your screen. John Christopher, the slot receiver. The give is to the running back, Hood. Slips a tackle, bounces off another defender, and in for the score. First career rushing touchdown for David Hood.
It came off of a few missed tackles, but when you run with that type of violent nature, people tend to fall off you more. You see it here. Hood, a nice job of cutting outside. The miss there from Noah Robinson, and then he just finishes off the run with great determination. He ran behind his pads, and the cookie there was the touchdown. Hood got the start today, and they said he's practiced well this week. And you saw it there. It's paid off with a nice and forceful run to put Temple on the board.
Extra point is good to make it an 8-point game as we check in with Brendan.
Hey, Anish, coming up on the Buick Halftime Report, Kevin Carter joins me. The American Conference East Division scenarios, we'll go over those. Frank Beamer coaching in his final home game in Blacksburg as Virginia Tech takes on North Carolina. And we'll check in on what else is happening in the top 25. Back to you.
The scenario for Temple is simple. If the Owls take care of business, beat Memphis today, and beat UConn next week, it doesn't matter what South Florida does. Temple will play for the conference championship. And I've got to believe the winner of the American Conference, which has been so good this year, will get that New Year's Six bowl berth.
I would be shocked if they don't.
I know Toledo's got a case with wins against Arkansas and Iowa State, but from top to bottom, this American Conference has proved itself, and it's been a number of teams that have done it against the Power Five.
I think when you look at these teams in the American Athletic Conference, you also see they've got some really young and bright coaches. When you watch them on film, these are well-coached units on both sides of the ball typically, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think the team that wins the American Athletic Conference will certainly have an edge in making one of those bowls.
The group of five's playoff spot, or I should say New Year's Six spot, goes to the highest-ranked conference champion out of the group of five, and that's what takes Memphis out of the equation. They're ineligible for the conference championship after that loss to Houston last week. Tyler Metakevich, he is the pulse of this Temple defense. 100 tackles now for a 4th straight season. He's a finalist for the Nagurski. He's a semifinalist for a couple of other major awards, the Bednarik and the Lombardi. You look at the numbers, they speak in the imperative.
Yeah, the thing that I love about him the most, the coaching staff said he is a coachable player. A lot of good players tend to not listen, but this kid allows them to be able to keep that standard for the entire team because he's so coachable and willing to listen to the coaching staff.
Lynch will hand it off on first down, and that's the big back, Jarvis Cooper, 245 pounds. There's Metakevich again.
Yeah, and one thing that you notice when you see Temple on film as a defense, they do a good job of disengaging in blocks. You see him here just doing a nice job of spin move, very athletic play to get off the block.
Near sideline, nice spin move. And that's Phil Mayhew getting out of bounds. Mayhew grew up about 35 minutes outside of Philadelphia in Sicklerville, New Jersey.
Now, I won't say that was the sickest spin move I've seen all year. I'll give that one to Braxton Miller. But this one's up there. I mean, he does this in a phone booth.
Another strong run. A gain of 6 yards. That's Cooper once more. Memphis on the move. They go warp speed. Lynch with time, downfield, receiver open, and Tevin Jones with his second drop of the game.
That is costly. I mean, he put that thing on the money in the perfect location, went right through his hands. Jones, these are not the types of plays, you know, and sometimes when you drop a big one early on, it stays in between those ears, and it's hard to get over that part of it, and sometimes it affects your psyche. And you also were talking about how fast this team is able to run plays. It was interesting listening to Coach Fuente. He said every play is associated with one word. That's how we're able to keep up this pace.
Lynch to Anthony Miller, and he reaches for that first down. Left the ball exposed for a moment, but got away with it.
Tunnel screen, we've got an injured Owl down on the field. I believe that's Avery Williams, the young man there, linebacker from Baltimore, Maryland. Looked like he might have gotten rolled up on by Taylor Fallen in a physical play.
Avery Williams wears number 2. The single-digit jerseys at Temple are not just given to anybody. They're given to the toughest players.
I love that tradition, and I wore a single-digit number, and I know most players, especially if you're a skill guy, you want one of those numbers. I think the fact that Matt Rule has taken that away from the players being able to choose and using it now as a reward, it really does provide some motivation for guys to be Temple tough. I really like the idea of that.
Justin Fuente said what impressed him most about Temple, this team has an identity, and the DNA is toughness.
Indeed. Wow.
Cooper engulfed by a sea of cherry red. Nate D. Smith got there first.
That is intimidating. When you see that on film and their willingness to run to the football, stuff the run, offenses do not like to compete against defenses like that.
Empty look on 2nd and long. Lynch under pressure and sacked. Hassan Reddick, who began his career as a defensive back, and he's quicker than the safeties, got to Paxton Lynch.
Yeah, this is just an amazing job of keeping contained. And you see him there. He forces Paxton back into the pocket, but it was that quickness and that agility and that mobility and the speed you talked about allowed him to plant his foot in the ground, get back to the quarterback, and make a huge sack on 2nd down.
Let's say it again. A D-end who was once a DB.
When they said that, literally my jaw hit the ground. That is an amazing, and you can imagine how that helps him as a rusher.
A run play here on 3rd and long, and that's Kraft. And that's a smart call. That sets up a much more makeable field goal. Elliott will come on to kick this one. Originally, they were looking at about a 54-yarder, but now you're looking at about a 43-yarder for one of the best kickers in college football.
And how about this Temple defense? You know, Memphis has not gotten the ball in the end zone all game today. And, I mean, you're looking at it, you're under 2 minutes in the 2nd quarter, and they've kept this potent offense out of the end zone. That's an impressive first-half performance.
44-yarder for Elliott, who has made one from 46 and another from 31. And he is 3 for 3 after the miss last week. Tonight at 8 Eastern on ABC in primetime, TCU and Oklahoma. The Horned Frogs, Trevon Boykin questionable. He won't start. Could still play, and Oklahoma right now appears to be in the driver's seat in the Big 12. You're getting a wounded TCU team. You still have to go to Stillwater and take on Oklahoma State in Bedlam. And the Cowboys, I know, are undefeated, but FPI, ESPN's Football Power Index, has Oklahoma as a 50% favorite to win the Big 12.
Baker Mayfield just continues to move up the Heisman chart, and the only bad game he's really had all year was versus the Texas Longhorns there in Dallas. aside from that, you'd be hard-pressed to find a game where he didn't control the entire game. This kid's athletic ability is kind of reminiscent of what Johnny Manziel used to do for A&M. He extends plays, keeps his eyes downfield. He's a very athletic guy, and he is really the reason why Oklahoma is making a late-season charge.
You know who gets a lot of credit? Their offensive coordinator, Lincoln Riley, who, by the way, was in the American Conference as Ruffin McNeil's right-hand man at East Carolina. We're down to 5 unbeatens, and there is one from the American, Houston. The Cougars will take on UConn. That's following our game here on ESPNU. And then next week against Navy, that's the big matchup in the American. The winner of that game will move on to the conference championship game, and Navy a one-loss team, with that only loss coming to Notre Dame. And again, Houston, Navy, I'd put my money it's one of those teams that's going to be playing in one of those New Year's Six Bowls.
Absolutely. And we've seen 2 of those teams. We've seen Clemson this year, Iowa up close and personal. And it's clear to see why both of those teams are also undefeated.
Not to discount Temple, but again, Navy with 1 loss, Houston has none. You put them probably a little ahead of Temple right now as Hood picks up 7 yards.
Getting into a tempo offense here as it's under 2 minutes. They're trying to really push the football.
Walker's pass sailed on him, and it's 3rd down. Intended target, Saladin Major, the backup tight end.
Yeah, they wanted a double move there on the outside. I think he was looking for Robbie Anderson, but Memphis defense was all over it.
Temple with 2 timeouts. Memphis has 3. So if you give the ball back, Tigers might have an opportunity given how fast they operate their offense. High snap. Hood moves the chains for Temple, and that will momentarily stop the clock with 51 seconds to go. Memphis receives the second half kickoff. So how aggressive is Matt Rule? Walker steps up, running for the sideline. And then he cut it back toward the field, gets to the 45. That again will momentarily stop the clock with 34 seconds to go. Temple with 2 timeouts.
Not the smartest play there. It was a very athletic play, but you got to run out of bounds there and be aware of the clock.
Yeah, the clock's got to start once the referee spots the ball.
Good point.
And now it'll start on the referee's signal, but that just bought Temple a few extra seconds. And it saved him maybe a timeout. Christopher gets out of bounds after a gain of 5.
Yeah, in 2-minute drills as a defense, you're protecting the sidelines. Why? Because teams are taught to go outside so that you can get out of bounds like they did here and save some time on the clock.
If you're wondering, Austin Jones, the kicker for Temple, his career long is 47. He's never hit from beyond 50.
Yeah, and the mark is they need to get to about 32, according to Matt Rule, to have a shot here to put the ball in play.
Timeout by Justin Fuente. 25 seconds to go in the first half. The Owls on the move.
Well, DirecTV beat us in customer satisfaction again.
Anish Shroff alongside Ahmad Brooks. 14-9 Temple. Owls with the ball at the Memphis 39. 25 seconds to go here in this first half. Temple still has 2 timeouts, so the middle of the field in play. Walker toward the sideline, 3rd and 4.
Injured player.
Man down on that near sideline. Jones's season long is 41. Career long 47. That came against UConn last year. Again, the play has been stopped because of an injured player along the Memphis sideline. And that's Colin Thompson, who has had a history of foot injuries.
That's not the guy you want to see go down, though. He's such a reliable middle-of-the-field target. Usually hauls that in. It was a tad bit out of his reach, but that 6'4" frame, he usually brings that in. You see him there, a little gimpy on that leg, it appears.
He began his career at Florida, but all the foot injuries led the Gators to declare him medically ineligible. They got a second opinion. The prescription was rest. He healed, transferred to Temple. But he's played hurt quite a bit, Matt Rule told us yesterday.
Okay.
Coming out of high school, he was the #2 tight end in his class. 3rd and 4 for Temple, 21 seconds to go first half. Deloach on a drag route, and he is dropped by Leonard Pegues. Timeout Temple, 14 seconds to go. It'll bring up 4th down.
Timeout of the half, 30-second timeout.
And now a decision for Matt Rule. You've got it at the 37-yard line, about a 54-yarder from here. You only need 2 yards to move the chains. You still have one more timeout.
Yeah, I think you take the lead in the half here. I think you maybe try to pin them inside, force them to be able to kneel the football or run the play clock out. But you've got the lead here. I don't think this is a situation we try for it, especially when you have Paxton Lynch on the opposite side of the field. This kid has a strong enough arm to get it downfield, throw the length of the field where they would probably get the field position.
So a field goal probably off the table. You would rather punt than go for it?
Absolutely. I think what you try to do is you try to pin them back. But it looks like here they've got the offense on the field. Matt Rule rolling the dice.
He went for it on 4th down earlier in this game in his own territory.
Yep.
Justin Fuentes sees how Temple is lined up, and now he calls his second timeout. So a chess match between a couple of guys who have a lot of respect for each other.
Good friends.
Sunday, NFL Insiders comes your way at 10 Eastern. NFL Countdown follows at 11 a.m. Yes, the guys will be talking about that lady from Tennessee who wrote in about Cam Newton's celebration. Maybe the most overblown story of this past week.
I'm just glad I can't dance, because I would have never been a guy that would have busted a move. So,
listen, we live in a
PC
world. We live in a PC world. Everybody's looking for something. And just, I don't know, my reaction to it, I live in Charlotte. I just sort of had a shoulder shrug.
Yeah, no doubt. Very odd story here. And, and going back to this 4th down here, the last time Temple came out to attempt a 4th down, they got on the ball and tried to draw Memphis off sides. Maybe that's something they're trying to do here. You could still afford a delay of game penalty and push you back, and it really won't hurt your punting unit.
They'll call a play on 4th down. Walker, his pass is incomplete. He tried to thread that one to Anderson in traffic. And now Memphis will take over at the 37-yard line, and they still have a timeout to play with.
Here's why I don't think that was a good decision. Now you've got Paxton Lynch, who now can throw to the middle of the field on the boundary because you have one timeout, and Elliott, who has been money today, already with 3 field goals on the day. He's got confidence. So if you're Memphis right now, you're coming out and you're trying to get more points on the board.
Well, it appears Memphis is just going to take this into halftime. The Tigers will get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. And the 3rd quarter is going to have a lot of drama. Memphis has trailed in 6 of its 8 wins this season. Temple has been a great 3rd quarter team. A lot of drama. A lot of game left to be played here in Philly. Let's get you to halftime now in Brendan.
Okay, Anish, thank you very much.
Welcome to the All-State Saturday Kickoff.
Well, that's the iconic pose here in Philadelphia. P.J. Walker struck it in the first half for Temple. The Owls with a 5-point lead on Memphis. And a critical game for Temple if they have aspirations to get to the conference championship. Anish Shroff, Ahmad Brooks. Ahmad, Temple's defense was lit up the last 2 weeks after being so good the first 7 weeks. Well, today against one of the best offenses in all the country, they've been outstanding in the first half.
Memphis is the 6th best scoring offense in the country, and they have not scored a touchdown in the entire first half. And here's how they've done it. This defense has been aggressive. They've been flying all around the field, and you'll see some great individual efforts here. First one comes from the cornerback, Tavon. Just a nice job of busting up the play. Here, a missed tackle. What? You've got 3 teammates to come and clean up the play. Once again, flushing. Paxton Lynch outside of the pocket. Tyler Cavage doing that. And then here, just a fine play of rolling back around. But this defense has been dominant, and they have kept this Memphis offense out of the end zone.
Paxton Lynch, who came into this game for Memphis, the quarterback, as one of the top QB prospects in all of college football. He's been held in check. There's our game track brought to you by Taco Bell. Temple has fixed whatever was wrong the previous 2 games. Memphis to receive the third quarter kick. Jalen Oglesby, the deep man for the Tigers. Oglesby from the 9. And he's dropped shy of the 30. Well, in the third quarter, Memphis has scored 121 points this season, 4th most nationally. Temple has given up only 22, the 2nd fewest. Temple has been a terrific third quarter team. Memphis has been a great second half team. This is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, something has to give, and I have a feeling number 12 will have something to say about those Temple numbers, as Paxton Lynch didn't have the best half. Probably is going to come out here firing.
Dorland Dorcius tackled by Medikevich. No gain. Dorcius, coming off his 2nd 100-yard game, has been bottled up so far. 4 carries, 6 yards.
They've just been disciplined on that side of the ball for Temple.
And a whistle.
For the snap, false start. Number 63, the offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's the left guard, a former walk-on Christopher Roberson. Dorcius out of the backfield. And he takes a pop at the 30-yard line after a gain of 7.
Strong safety Smith coming up and making some plays. And you go back and look at Lynch's numbers. The last 2 games, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The first 8 games of the year, 18 touchdowns, 1 interception. So if you're Lynch, you're really trying to come out and do what you were doing early on in the season.
To be fair, we probably hold him to a much higher standard. Lynch steps up, and that one skips on cross. Memphis goes 3 and out. And Ahmad, you've got to wonder, Lynch took a hit in the first half. It looked to be his ankle. We have not seen him as mobile in the pocket as we normally do.
I couldn't agree more. And I also think when you look at it, even to be stationary, I mean, you're talking about ankles. That's what you use to be able to get a good base, to be able to throw the football. And he's thrown a few balls high and a few low. Maybe that has something to do with it.
Chandler with the fair catch off the punt by Spencer Smith, a 42-yard boot. Temple with 2 more wins would clinch the division in the East Division of the American Conference. In the West, it'll come down to Houston and Navy. That's actually the East Division, but in the West, it'll come down to Houston and Navy. Doesn't matter what either of those teams do this week. They play next week, and that'll decide who comes out of the West for the American Conference Championship game.
It's going to be a good football game. You hope that Greg Ward Jr. is going to be healthy enough to play.
Memphis will tell you that the backup Postma looked pretty good last week.
Yeah, no doubt.
David Hood has had a nice game. 2 more yards there for Temple. 47 on the afternoon. We have not seen much from Jihad Thomas. He had an early fumble. There was a bit of a struggle on an exchange.
Yeah, Hood has run the ball well today, though, so I think that has a lot to do with it. He seems like the guy with the hot hand.
Temple likes to take its time on offense. This is Hood again. And he is lassoed to the ground at the 30 by Donald Pennington, the nose tackle.
Yeah, Pennington, he's made a few plays today, but look how athletic he is right here to be able to fight off the block and chase down a much more athletic Hood, and then to finish the play. That's just a very athletic play with guys up top, guys down low, fighting through traffic. Good football play there.
Hood with a career high 48 yards rushing as Temple faces a 3rd and 7. Owls 6 of 9 on 3rd down this afternoon. Here's the blitz, picked up. Walker flushed. He's going to run for the first down, and he's able to get it. P.J. Walker. Now they'll say he's going to be just shy. Now, originally, the official on the far sideline gave him the spot, but not on the near sideline.
Yeah, early on in the year, too, I think Walker would have easily run for this first down. There he tried to give the second effort, but when you've got numbers that are dropping back, the offensive line gives you protection, and once you break the pocket, it becomes scramble drill. He saw the open field there, and he's been athletic enough throughout the year to make plays like this. This time here, though, the Memphis defense doing a good job of forcing him out of bounds.
Temple had to hurry to get 11 on the field. Starzyk to punt. Had some trouble with it. It's blocked. It goes out of bounds, and Memphis will take over in Temple territory.
This play looked doomed from the start. You had a Temple player running on the field late, and as you watch it here, it just didn't seem like the punter. He bobbles it. You will watch the replay just before he's getting ready to kick it. Watch the little fumble right there. See, just before then is what happened, and that's what forced him to kick a ball that looked more like a soccer kick. I'm not sure who it hit into, but this will certainly be on somebody's folly, probably on Sunday morning.
That's not top 10.
No doubt.
It looked like it got Nick Sharga, his own player. So a sudden change, and Memphis has the ball at the Temple 21 with a chance to take the lead. Kraft on the fly sweep in the red zone. And Memphis, folks, in the red zone has been surgical this season. Coming into today, 53 drives, 51 resulted in points.
And a lot of that has to do with your quarterback. And the only team that's been better than that is Navy. They've got a pretty good quarterback, too.
And that's an option offense.
Yep, very different styles, for sure.
Dorcius runs into a phalanx of defenders, and it'll bring up 3rd down. That was Nate D. Smith. Temple's defense has a Nate D. Smith and a Nate L. Smith at safety.
You want to be special on defense when your back is up against the wall and you've got a sudden change. And if you can come away here and take away points, we talked about what they were able to do in the first half. In the first half, they were able to turn these into field goals and not allow the Tigers to get in the end zone. Can they do it again here in the second half?
Here's the blitz, straight up the middle. Lynch able to get away. Trying to keep the play alive, and he's forced out of bounds. It'll bring up 4th down. No gain on the play. Chased out by Hassan Reddick. So Memphis, the second time today, a great opportunity off a turnover, and they go 3 and out.
Yeah, and you've got to give credit to defensive coordinator Phil Snow. And talking to this Memphis staff last season, they felt that this was the most complicated team to be able to pick up blocking schemes and to know when they were bringing pressure. Defense coordinator Phil Snow for Temple that time opting to go to pressure. They get home base, missed the tackle, but a great job of tracking the ball down once Lynch got outside the pocket.
Elliott from 37. Off the upright, no good.
That'll send a surge of energy through a team. Wow.
Temple turns it over deep in its own zone. Memphis unable to capitalize. Elliott's kick. No good. It's been a pedestrian afternoon in Philadelphia for Paxton Lynch, and you have to wonder if his play today goes back to what happened early in this game.
Yeah, you see that left ankle just kind of rolled up underneath the defender. And then you watch it here. This is a play where he buys time. I think if Lynch is healthy here, he gets this first down. We've seen him in the past be able to extend plays, get out in front, but that ankle seems to be hampering him right now in his performance.
14 out of 21, 109 yards. This for a guy who threw for at least 300 yards in each of his first 8 games this season. Walker's pass batted down by Pennington. And we've got a flag. Might be a late hit here.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. With targeting, number 34, the defense.
Oh, man.
15-yard penalty, automatic, first down. The play's under review.
Well, what this means is if the play stands as called, Dillon will be ejected for the rest of this game and miss the first half of Memphis' next game.
You're looking for forcible contact to the head. And when you watch this in slow motion, great job with the truck there. That looks more like the chest in that he just came up. I'd be curious to see how the officials actually determine this call, because without question he did contact, but I think his initial contact, Dillon's, was to the chest and his helmet ran up. And I think that makes all the difference in the world when you're tackling a smaller player like P.J. Walker is.
And that's what the officials look for, forcible contact. If there was no forcible contact, Dillon can stay in the game. Now that still might be a late hit.
Yeah, I think there's still a penalty there. It didn't look like he was close, and it looked like he had to give a second effort to get the hit on the quarterback there. But let's take one more look at it and see what the officials are actually looking at. You see there, the initial contact is to the chest, and we're talking about a difference between, you look at Jackson.
After review, the ruling on the field of targeting is confirmed by rule number 34 has been disqualified.
Leading with the crown of the helmet, forcible contact above the shoulders, and that's what the officials saw. And Memphis loses one of the key players on its defense in Jackson Dillon.
I don't agree with this call, and I think when you look at just the size here, somebody's got to take this into account. Jackson Dillon is 6'6". P.J. Walker is 6'1". He hit him in the best place that he could in terms of the chest. I didn't think he led with the crown. It looked like that was just a much smaller player and that his helmet just continued to slide up. That didn't look like a forcible contact to the head to me.
So Dillon ejected for the remainder of this game, and because the targeting penalty took place in the second half of the game, he will miss the first half of Memphis' final game against SMU. Walker on the keeper. And he dives across the 40 to the 41 for a gain of 6. Memphis has had trouble today sustaining momentum and capitalizing on momentum changes.
Yeah, and I think what you're seeing right now, why Temple is going up-tempo, is because they feel that and sense that and really are now trying to go for the kill.
Jihad Thomas back in the game for Temple at running back. Second leading rusher in the American. Thomas gets the call. Cuts it back to the middle. And he's spun down by DeMarco Montgomery after a gain of 2. We check in with Brendan.
Hey, Anish, second half at the Swamp. Still scoreless between Gators and Owls of Florida Atlantic. Jason Driscoll, the quarterback for Florida Atlantic, gets pasted. It's Tavon Bryan who scoops it up. Goes all the way inside the 10-yard line. Kelvin Taylor would score a couple plays later.
We were looking at some of the scores at halftime. Just some bizarre scores around the country. Florida, FAU 0-0. The Citadel was leading South Carolina. There's Thomas on 3rd and 2. And he's going to be short of the first down.
The defense coordinator there for Memphis, Galen Scott, had 6 guys on the line of scrimmage. They were ready for the run. And this Memphis defense was determined to stop them there on 3rd down.
Well, it's 4th and short in the first half. Matt Rule, in a situation like this from his own territory, between the 40 and the 50, decided to go for it.
Now is when you start to talk about the center, number 68, getting the start today in place of number 79, Kyle Friend. Usually when you run these types of plays, you want them right up the middle. Maybe that makes you think twice about running a quarterback sneak here, though, although Walker's under center.
And a whistle with the play clock running down. Matt Rule calls a timeout. Will step aside as well. 4th and 1, Temple from its own 44. Fourth and 1 for Temple. They line up like they're going for it. They did that before the timeout. Owls 0 for 2 on 4th down so far. Temple will keep it on the ground, and I don't think they got it. Another turnover on downs by the Owls in their own territory.
Great job by Donald Pennington, the young man from Amite, Louisiana, 6'2", 295. He just clogs up this play. You see the pile that he has to run around? You see number 58 at the bottom of that. Now, he won't get credited for the tackle, but everybody in the defensive meeting room will know his effort was the reason. Watch him here. I mean, just a great job of fighting through the block to make the pile up there for a big stop on 4th down.
Dorsey is brought down by the ankles at the 39-yard line by free safety Alex Wells. And for Memphis, Ahmad, this is another opportunity to get back in the game. It seems they've had plenty. They've had possessions in plus territory. They've got to capitalize.
They just haven't gotten in the rhythm.
Lynch to Frazier, and Frazier scampers out of bounds close to the 1st down. Paxton Lynch, 14 out of 21. Came in completing 69% of his passes, one of the best marks in the nation. That's when it helps to be 6'7".
Yeah, you're right. And I don't think it's just about being 6'7". It's that 245 that he's packing around too. That helps with the push.
Now, he's drawn comparisons for that reason to Ben Roethlisberger because of the height and the ability to move around for a big guy.
I see it.
That ball came out. Temple says they've got it. Memphis able to recover.
Now I want you to watch here, number 58, Reddick. Watch him get this right hand in here and yank this football out. What an aggressive play here. That is textbook. You're taught to stand up. The second guy that gets there, go for the football. Nice job there from Reddick.
On 2nd and 7, this is Frazier. And he's out of bounds at the 29, a short gain, chased down by Matakevich.
Yeah, they try to do the reverse as they're sprinting left, and Reddick was in prime position, though he didn't make the play. He forced him to have to run outside of him, which gave the defense time to plant their foot in the ground, turn back around, change direction, and chase the football down.
Another crucial 3rd down for one of the best 3rd down offenses in the country. Here's the blitz. Near sideline, caught by Mayhew, and a 1st down for Memphis.
That's the 2nd time today that I've seen Lynch recognize where the blitz is coming from, see the spinning down safety, and go to the right man. They had a house call blitz on this particular time. Sits in the pocket with a fine throw.
Temple slow to set up. This is Lynch, and he's dropped at the 18-yard line, a gain of 2. Paxton Lynch, a kid who was not heavily recruited at all out of high school. In fact, Memphis was his only scholarship offer from an FBS school. The other offer from Florida A&M, an FCS school.
Wow.
And that is Medikevich again making the stop right at the line of scrimmage. He's on every play.
He's just a tough son of a gun. I mean, man, he's the type of guy that you don't want to be in a bar fight with. I mean, really, you're going to have to throw some serious haymakers to knock this guy out. And he plays football with that same type of Rocky mentality.
His story's similar to Lynch's. Another kid wasn't looked at by a lot of schools out of high school, went to prep school, and has become a star for Temple. Lynch will tuck it and run. And he is taken down by Chandler for a loss. 4th down for Memphis. The Temple defense does it again.
Indecision on the part of Lynch. Whether he wanted to keep the football up and throw the football downfield or run for the first down. And he tries to stay behind the line of scrimmage. But as you said it, this Temple defense is playing team defense right now. They know their assignment. They're playing technique sound. And they're winning mentally and physically right now against this Memphis unit.
Elliott 3 out of 4. He missed the last one. Knocks it through from 39. Memphis has been kept out of the end zone, but they do get 3.
This Owl defense has been special, forcing field goals on every possession that they've gotten close. And here's why. Just big-time plays.
ESPNU College Football All-State Saturday Kickoff. Brought to you by new one-a-day healthy metabolism support gummies. And Pep Boys. Trust the boys to get you there.
The Washington Monument at the Museum of Art in Philadelphia. This hasn't exactly been a Matisse or a Rembrandt today. 14-12 here in the 3rd quarter. And the cradle of liberty. Temple with a 2-point lead. The Owls will receive after Memphis just made its 4th field goal of the afternoon.
Yeah, 3 red zone attempts for Memphis, 0 touchdowns. Outstanding job today from this Temple defense.
With South Florida's win against Cincinnati last night, Temple has to win its last 2 games in all likelihood if it wants to play for a conference championship. USF has 1 game left. That's against UCF, which is winless on the season.
Yeah, and in talking to Matt Rule yesterday, he made it very clear. The challenge to the players was this. We're here. We've got an opportunity to compete for a conference title. What are you going to do? Yes, we've been disappointed in losing 2 of the last 3 games, but things are still out in front of us. And so that's been the challenge to his team the entire week.
Temple closes the season next week against UConn. And that could be a Huskies team playing for bowl eligibility. The freshman Jagger Gardner, the lone North Carolinian on this Temple roster, gets back to the line of scrimmage. Well, you credit this Memphis defense as well. We don't associate this Tiger football program with defensive prowess. They're known to be an offensive team, but with the offense's struggles today, especially finishing drives, the defense has come up with some big plays, come up with some key stops and turnovers to keep Memphis in the game.
That's been the story, for them. Their ability to create takeaways. And every great defense, every good defense knows how to get the ball back from the offense.
Walker stands in, the pass behind Robbie Anderson. 3rd down for Temple, and we have another update from Brendan.
Anish, we go back to Blacksburg, North Carolina, Virginia Tech. The Hokies down 10-3, but Michael Brewer gets in from 3 yards out, just stretching out across the line. In the 3rd quarter at Frank Beamer's final home game, it's tied at 10. Back to you.
North Carolina has won 9 in a row, playing as well as anybody nationally. But a lot of emotions in play at Lane Stadium this afternoon. On 3rd and 10, edge pressure. Walker in trouble. He'll try to get away. And P.J. Walker with his feet gets the 1st down for Temple.
What a fantastic play, as there's an injured Tiger. But before we go to that, just watch the awareness here. You know, he knew once that he felt the pressure of the pocket that he was running the football, and you could tell that was obvious. And Memphis had dropped back defenders. P.J. Walker making them pay for that because that space created running opportunities for a fine dual-threat quarterback.
That looks like Arthur Millette, one of the DBs who's actually had a pretty good game for Memphis today.
Yes, he has.
It's that time of the year. Nobody's 100%. Everybody's banged up. Everybody's playing hurt and trying to find a way.
Yeah, and especially if you're on defense. When you tackle, it hurts. And if you do it right, you're going to have some nicks, you're going to have some bruises, and some pain you're going to have to fight through. And as you said, especially towards the latter part of the season.
Downfield, Bryant makes the catch at the 30, tackled by Chris Morley, a gain of 29, and Temple into Memphis territory.
This ball was thrown in the right location, but you've got to give credit to the wide receiver, Vintel Bryant, a young man that they really think has come along, for coming back to the football. And had he not come back to the football, maybe it gives enough space for the defender to come out and knock that ball down. But a good job there from the young Bryant of making a big catch.
They really like his upside. He and Robbie Anderson, a really good 1-2 tandem. Walker's going to throw. The only receiver was Deloach, and it's incomplete. That was a run formation, and Walker decided to go in the direction of Ramond Deloach, who has Temple's first touchdown.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened here. It looked like the wide receiver was supposed to run a fade route, which typically means you've got to get outside. But just as he was trying to do that, the cornerback did a good job of cutting off his route, which forced him back inside. And that's why you saw that ball go to the far right, past both the defender and the wide receiver.
Temple picks up the blitz, incomplete pass, and another third down. Temple has been in these situations a lot. Plus territory, 45 yards, probably pushing the edge of Austin Jones's field goal range.
And they're 7 of 12 on third down. Can they convert again?
Walker is dropped by Jannard Avery, but a penalty. Might have been a free play.
Offside, number 13 of the defense. 5-yard penalty, third down.
Penalty on DeMarco Montgomery, who's now in the game at that dog backer position where Jackson Dillon was ejected for targeting.
Yeah, penalties hurt. And you know, as a football player, you must accept responsibility and be accountable for all your actions on the field. Those are the mistakes that you can correct. And that has nothing to do with the play call, has nothing to do with your effort. That is about just, doing what you're supposed to do. So they've got to accept responsibility, because now you've given Temple another opportunity to convert on a drive that's already lasted 2 minutes.
Brandon Shippen, who left the game in the first half, back in at slot receiver. Near sideline, and that's a first down for Temple. Robbie Anderson, another third down conversion.
Easy pitch and catch. And these two guys have worked on their chemistry for years now, and you see it really coming to fruition. Just good timing on this entire route. You watch it here. He pushes the wide receiver up, coming out on a speed out, and the defensive back just didn't react soon enough, and P.J. Walker put the ball in the right location. First down.
Jagger Gardner, the deep back in the eye. Two tight ends to the right. Gardner running power. And he's to the 13-yard line, a gain of 2. And that might have been the last play of this third quarter.
They really like Gardner. They feel like they've got several backs that they can rely on, and you've seen them out here today. They've certainly shared the touches in the backfield amongst the running backs.
David Hood has the most carries today with 11. Jihad Thomas was banged up after last week. Has not seen a ton of snaps. But Temple takes a 2-point lead into the final 15 minutes at home. 14-12 after 3 quarters in Philadelphia. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. 14-12, Temple leading Memphis as we get ready for the start of the fourth quarter. The bronze statue of Rocky near the Art Museum, and Marcus Satterfield, Temple's offensive coordinator, he says we're going to line up in big sets. We're going to rock you for 4 quarters. We call them body blows. If you can withstand it, great. But we're going to try to get you to drop those hands. The boxing analogy works well in the city of brotherly love.
Yeah, I love it. And they've been able to come out here and do that today. Can they score in the red zone again? Temple has 3 trips, 2 touchdowns on the day inside the red zone.
Touchdown Temple, Kip Patton on the misdirection.
I've watched a lot of film on the outs. I'm not sure if I've seen that play from Kip Patton, a young man. They like this redshirt freshman, and they said he would have played more, but he's just been inconsistent at times. And so he's got the athletic ability. They really do think he's going to grow into being one of the staple tight ends of this program. That time there, though, just a surprise play, and you saw it there. He showed his athletic ability to be able to weave his way through traffic and find the end zone.
That's a tight end.
Yeah, exactly. You don't see that a lot.
Extra point by Jones is good, and Temple with a 2-score lead.
Yo, you'll just watch the tight end. This is him right here. He's going to come back across, and this is a very, very unique play. One I haven't seen a whole lot. He just sneaks in. I think he surprises the defense, and then a great block on the outside from Saladin Major, the other tight end. Watch him here. That really breaks the play open, gives him a cutback lane, and the rest is history. Very creative play calling on the part of this Temple offensive staff.
So you saw what Satterfield said, body blows for 4 quarters. That was a haymaker.
Yeah, no
they
doubt.
landed a haymaker.
An uppercut. And if you're Memphis, it's now to set your jaw and figure out what type of team are you going to be. Are you going to be a team that was really hot at the beginning of the year and couldn't fight off adversity and obstacles when they came along? Both of these coaches were aware that this is going to come down to a 4-quarter game, and it has been that. So if you're Memphis, you've been held out of the end zone. Tight end Alex Cross had a ball early in the first half that would have gone for points. He just drops the football. But now you've got to come back and get something going. If not, Temple has the momentum at this point along with the lead.
And a break for Memphis.
Absolutely.
As the kick goes out of bounds. Memphis ball at the 35. We get another update from Brendan.
And as we go back to the Big Ten, Michigan punting here. DeAndre Tompkins for Penn State is going to muff it inside his own 10-yard line. J.U. Chesson there to recover. Sione Homa would punch it in. The Wolverines have a 21-10 lead in the third.
All right, thank you, Brendan. Here it's 21-12 Temple. Temple, remember, opened this season with a win against Penn State. One of 8 wins against Power 5 conferences by the American. Memphis has 2 of them. They beat Kansas and Ole Miss. Dorcius, or rather Henderson, ran out of room. This Temple defense right now has played with a lot of purpose. They know what's at stake. Temple, if it wins out, it doesn't matter what South Florida does. the Owls will have a berth in the conference championship game. Roderick Proctor went backwards and then able to get a few extra yards as he is whistled down at the 38. That's Medikevich in there. Not afraid of 3 white shirts.
Not at all. I wouldn't be either. He's a big man with a big stick, that's for sure. 3rd down here. We've seen costly drops on 3rd down from Memphis, which have really halted drives. Can they come out here today and continue to get some momentum going? You know, converting 3rd downs, moving the chain, kind of get you in a rhythm. So now, more pressure on Paxton Lynch.
Here's the blitz from Temple. Lynch with a screen pass, nobody there. Oh, the screen is the right call against the blitz.
You said it, Anish, but it was the speed there from Nate Smith, the safety, the strong safety. You'll see him come off to the right of your screen, and Lynch feels it, and he knows he's got to get the ball out a little sooner than he'd like. But a good play call there by the defense coordinator once again, and the players executing to perfection.
Before the snap, Temple calls it 2nd timeout of the half.
So a timeout by Matt Rule. Memphis with a 4th and 7 early in the 4th.
He'll tell you it.
21-12, Temple leading Memphis. The Tigers to punt. Spencer Smith on to kick it away. And Sean Chandler, the deep man for the Owls. We're guarding against the fake. And this one over the head of Chandler. And into the end zone for a touchback. Well, last Saturday it was Memphis that had a big 4th quarter lead. The Tigers led Houston 34-14 early in the 4th, and then it all came apart. The Cougars rallied behind their backup quarterback, and Houston pulled the stunner 35-34. Memphis had a chance to win it at the end, but Jake Elliott's field goal in the final minute went wide, and Houston remained unbeaten. And with that loss, everything went out the window for Memphis. A chance at playing in a New Year's Six Bowl, a chance at a conference championship. You can forget the playoff dark horse narrative.
Now is where you need a big play from your defense. And if I'm Temple, I come out here and I try to control the clock. They brought in their fullback. Look for them to run the football here in the closing minutes of this game.
That's the fullback, 31, Michael Felton. David Hood for a yard. The safety, Chris Morley on the stop, 2nd and 9. Given some of the spots they've been in, I got to tell you, this Memphis defense has played a lot better than the numbers suggest today.
Yeah, no, other than the red zone where Temple has completely dominated, they've been good going into the field.
It's been a bend but don't break defense that's had its moments. Lynch stands in against the blitz, finds Anderson, stiff arms his way across the 30 to the 34. A gain of a baker's dozen and a 1st down.
That was pretty from Walker. I mean, it was an off-balance throw. He was kind of leaning back, felt the pressure and the touch to be able to throw it to another location where his wide receiver could run right underneath it. That was a pretty play.
5 catches, 80 yards now for the senior Robbie Anderson. And Temple right now will take its own sweet time.
Of course.
Jihad Thomas, he's been quiet this afternoon and tackled by Noah Robinson after a short gain.
And they've got muscle in the ball game right now for Temple. They've chosen to play 3 tight ends with a fullback. So, I mean, if you have any question on the Memphis side of the ball about what they're about to do, they're running the football. And this is something that if you're Memphis, it gives you an opportunity to try to hover up and around the line of scrimmage, put more numbers in the box, put your corners on an island, and really try to allow this defense to get after the football, pin your ears back, and attack the line of scrimmage.
Remember, Memphis without one of its best defensive players, Jackson Dillon, ejected earlier in this half for targeting. Thomas. A couple more. It's 3rd and 5. After Cal and Stanford tonight on ESPN, Sports Center at night. Next week, so much will be decided. At most conferences, the regular season comes to an end. I know the Big 12 still has a few games on that first weekend in December. And still really so much uncertainty in terms of the playoff picture.
Yeah, these next couple weeks are going to be fun, aren't they?
3rd and 5 for Temple. Walker against the blitz, incomplete. Well, the Memphis defense did it. Hang on. There is laundry on the field.
Pass interference for 10 of the defense. 15-yard penalty automatic. First down.
That's Dontrell Nelson, the junior.
Yeah, watch the right side of your screen here as we take a look at Dontrell Nelson. And
yeah, he just pushed him out of bounds.
Yeah, I don't think the push was necessarily the bad part. There was the fact that the ball was in flight.
Yep.
And when the ball's in flight, you've got to turn around and try to make a conscious play on the football. That time there, Nelson just didn't do that.
Easy call for the refs. Temple gets a first down out of it. They're at midfield. There is Jihad Thomas once more to the 46, brought down by Latarius Brady.
Yeah, when you've got a bunch of freshmen in behind Jihad Thomas, what do? You bring in the junior to make the right decisions. Even though he's a tad bit gimpy, they bring another one of their young running backs on, as we say that. But you want the ball in the hands of a veteran, a guy that understands the importance of ball security right now as you're trying to milk the clock and come away with here today with a victory.
Edge pressure. Temple keeps it on the ground. Jagger Gardner with another Owls first down.
And that's just power football. Yeah, we were talking about Temple tough early on in the broadcast, and we opened with that. And Matt Rule said, we've got to get back to our style of play. When you line up with 2 tight end sets, 1 wide receiver, a fullback in there, and everybody in the stadium knows where the ball is going, and you still get the first down, that's Temple tough.
And again, Walker and this Temple offense content to bleed some of this clock. Gardner fights forward, and he's to the 35-yard line for a gain of 3. I know there's 9+ minutes to go in this ball game, but given how Temple plays and how deliberate they're going to be down the stretch, at what point does Justin Fuente start considering using some timeouts?
I don't know. I think when it gets under, for me, the 5-minute mark, I think that's when it gets real dangerous, when you have to get into your 4-minute offense. But that's a great question and something that I'm sure he's pondering right now.
Once more to the ground, this time Jihad Thomas. It'll bring up 3rd down for Temple, but first an update from Blacksburg. Brendan.
All right, Anish, North Carolina looking to get back on top. Tied at 10 in the 4th quarter. Elijah Hood up the gut, 13 yards and a touchdown. So the Tar Heels looking for 10 straight wins. They're up 17-10 with 12.5 minutes to go.
UNC closes the season next week against NC State. Virginia Tech on the road against UVA in Charlottesville. 3rd and 3 for Temple. The Owls, in all likelihood, probably need to win out to get to the conference championship game. Play clock at 1. P.J. Walker will keep it, and he's got a first down.
Great decision on the part of Walker here. This play, you know, he has the option to hand the football off or to keep it. Watch him here. He sees the edge there. The defender loses contain, which gives him enough timing to get outside, pick up the first down, but then the awareness at the end of the play to get down on the football field and to eat up more clock. That's a veteran there making a good decision.
23 first downs by Temple. This drive alone has taken up more than 6 minutes of game clock.
Wow.
Thomas to the 22. It's no surprise right now. Temple's going to run the football.
Yeah, still hard to stop. And part of it is when you've got a running back with the talent of Jahad Thomas there, that was a fine job of cutting and using his feet and getting in the right position.
If you're Memphis right now, you've got to think, listen, if we can hold Temple to a field goal, it keeps this at a 2-possession game.
That's what you're thinking. Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, too, you know, with those possessions, they haven't done much with it today. So if you're this defense, what I'm thinking is get the football back and erase all points off the board. That's the best way to go.
Gardner inside the 20. Another third down coming up for Temple. Noah Robinson with the tackle.
How methodical has this drive been? I mean,
I go back to the Navy game, Ahmad, where a drive like this has a twofold effect on a team like Memphis. Against Navy, Justin Fuente told us his team could not get into an offensive rhythm because their offense couldn't get on the field. Navy held it for so long. Here you are in the fourth quarter. Temple's had the ball now for 7.5 minutes on this drive. Well, you've got a rhythm offense. It's tough for them to get into a rhythm, and they haven't been able to.
Yeah.
Walker will throw. Incomplete, intended for Ventel Bryant. Walker tried to sneak that into double coverage. Lanier was there, and so was Ball.
That was just a wonderful drive, though. It took up nearly 8 minutes off the clock. Wow, just methodical. They managed to get it down to third and short situations and then just powered through. The offensive line deserves a tremendous amount of credit because Memphis knew what was coming. Despite that, they still couldn't stop it.
A 35-yard attempt by Austin Jones. Jones's kick makes it a 12-point game, a 13-play, 62-yard drive that ate up 8 minutes of game clock.
ESPNU College Football All-State Saturday Kickoff. Brought to you by Allstate. Proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands? And Samuel Adams, for the love of beer.
On its last drive, Temple went 62 yards on 13 plays, eating up 8 minutes of game clock. The Owls have a 12-point lead with 5:25 to play. But if you're Memphis, you're thinking, listen, this is one of the best offenses in the nation. It hasn't looked like it today. If the Tigers can score and get a stop, you still got a shot here. It's still a 2-possession game.
And you look at the yards here at this game, 186 total yards for Memphis. Their season low on the year, 425 yards at South Florida. And so when you think about the job that this Temple defense is doing right now, they've got the momentum. They're well rested. Their team has had the ball over 10 minutes longer than Memphis. So now's the time, if you're on defense, all of those studs that Temple has, Tyler, Matakevich, you're telling your guys, let's go close this game.
Oglesby. Taken down shy of the 30. Well, it was Halloween night in a loss where Temple probably did more for the perception of its football program than they've done with any win in recent memory. They took Notre Dame down to the wire. And a lot of the talk after that game was, man, this Temple defense, they're physical, they're tough, and they can play with anybody.
I couldn't agree with you more, and we know how talented Notre Dame is. Right now, currently, they sit at one of the spots for the college football playoff. And Temple, you watch that game. I mean, it was very unique to watch. You know this was a big game. Game days here, the gang's in town. But to see them perform and fight through all of that was just amazing to watch. And Matt Rule said it. He said, you know, I knew after that game we had a good football team.
Oglesby is down for Memphis. Will step aside. 5:18 left in regulation.
Michigan State, Ohio State, today at 3:30 Eastern.
Scout Sinks Todd McShay has Paxton Lynch rated as the top draft-eligible quarterback. He's struggled today. He's been pedestrian. You saw that early hit he took, and his mobility has been limited since.
Yeah, and when you watch them on film, they like to get the pocket to move, to utilize his athletic ability. They really haven't been able to do that since the first half, and you haven't seen a lot of it. Paxton Lynch today, no question about it, has been banged up and looking to get his first touchdown. Now, he's on a streak of 15 games in a row with a touchdown pass. That streak in jeopardy here today.
Lynch over the middle. That's complete. Mose Frazier tackled by Alwan, a gain of 6. Clock continues to run. Memphis has all 3 timeouts. Anthony Miller. And how about Sean Chandler getting off that block?
They call him Champ, and you see right there, he makes a play with the wide receiver hanging right off of him. A fantastic play. I've been really impressed with both of these corners and what they've been able to accomplish all year long.
60th reception of the season for Frazier. It's 3rd down now. Lynch's pass. Frazier makes the catch. He's going to be shy of the line to gain, and it's 4th down for Memphis.
This defense has played physical today. I mean, they are tackling with force and power.
Lynch will try to sneak it. And he didn't get the push. No official signal yet. I think they're going to measure. They will measure. But according to the spot right after that play was whistled, it did not appear that Lynch got enough.
He's had a lot of meat in the middle there, and it's anchored there by the senior defensive tackle, Matt Ioannidis.
Another one of those single-digit guys for Temple.
Tough. Bad man. Wow. Yeah, the energy in this place, you watch it here. These are the types of stops that you become legendary for when you think about programs being able to stop teams on 4th and 1. You know, I realized what Memphis was trying to do when they rushed up to the line of scrimmage. They were trying to catch this Temple defense off guard, but I think it also prevented them from not getting into the best play on 4th and short. And you saw the Temple defense there just really took advantage of it.
Temple has held Memphis to under 200 yards in total offense. The Tigers came in averaging more than 540 yards of offense per game, as Gardner reaches for the 35 for a gain of 2. And Memphis will call its first timeout to stop the clock with 4:21 to go. Tyler Metakevich and the Owls can smell it. They're up by 12, 4:21 to go.
Mr.
If you're a Temple fan, the soft pretzel, the hero, the Yingling, it all tastes better this afternoon. The Owls with a 12-point lead on the Memphis Tigers. And the story of this game has been the dominance of this Temple defense against one of the best offenses in the country.
Yeah, Memphis is not known for running the football, but they've been held to under 60 yards today. So what that tells me is Temple's been able to control the line of scrimmage. And if you can control the line of scrimmage, even for Memphis, who has maybe the most talented quarterback in the country who hasn't played well today, you can control the game.
Here's Hood on 2nd and 8. He's got a seam. And another first down for Temple. Well, part of Memphis' struggles today, Paxton Lynch, their all-world quarterback, tweaked something here early in the game, and he just hasn't been the same in terms of moving the pocket this afternoon.
Yeah, I agree, and his mobility is one of the most surprising parts of his game because of his size and the way that he extends plays. And if you've got a lower injury, leg injury, it makes it extremely difficult for you to be able to move around and to do exactly some of the things that he's done so well throughout the year.
New set of downs for the Owls. Under 4 minutes to play in regulation. Jagger Gardner speeds to the 22 for a gain of 5. And Memphis uses its second timeout. .335 left. To look at our good hand display brought to you by Allstate. We go to the second quarter. Temple receiver Ramon DeLoach.
That's just a playmaker right there. You know, the ability to get the ball over the defensive back's head and then to finish off the catch. The second fade they threw it away that time, though, it worked.
That's Hood, and he's to the 19-yard line. You know, you go back to that catch by DeLoach as Memphis uses its final timeout. That addresses an advantage Temple has had in this game with its receivers. Robbie Anderson 6'3", DeLoach 6'4", Bryant 6'3". Memphis does not have a cornerback on its roster taller than 6'1".
Hey, you're talking to a guy who played cornerback at 5'8", so I don't want to hear that excuse. But does it make a difference and does it make you a target in the red zone? There is no questioning about it. And when you look at matchups, Memphis believes they have the edge there in that matchup.
Temple fans might want to stick around for the 3:30 game on ESPNU. Tell them what's coming up, Brendan.
Okay, Anish, more American Conference action coming up in about 26 minutes. Tom Herman, the undefeated Houston Cougars, and Bob Diaco's UConn Huskies bowl eligible with one more win. That's coming up next. Back to you.
Anish Ruff with former Texas Longhorn Ahmad Brooks.
Of course.
What did you make? I thought this was a great tweet that the Houston Twitter account sent out last week. The only remaining unbeaten team from the state of Texas.
You know what? I respect it. And you know, and what they've been able to do, they've suffered 3 injuries to their offensive line. It looks like their quarterback, Greg Ward Jr., is banged up. Despite all that, they've pushed through and been able to win ball games. It's a great story this year.
Off play action. Walker's got an open receiver. Saladin Major. And that'll seal it for the Owls.
Great play call. To get out in space. Once again, you know, some people call this a waggle, where you fake one way, you allow the quarterback to boot, and you bring wide receivers underneath. And this time here, just a great job. They bring the tight end in motion. He pretends that he's about to block, slides out into an area in space where no one's there, and 50 career passing touchdowns there for the young man. That'll be a memorable one for him for sure.
He was tied with Henry Burris. And now P.J. Walker has thrown more TD passes than any other quarterback in the history of Temple football.
Yeah, this is the guy right here you're looking for. You'll see he pretends to block and then releases into a route, and that's what confused the defense. You know, if you're reading him, you're thinking, oh, he's blocking. And all of a sudden, he slides out into a space in an area where it's wide open. Good play call, timely play call. And for P.J., you can see a moment there of knowing you've just sealed the game with a fantastic football play.
He has played some of his best football in the second half of the season, and the coaches told us it all started with the Notre Dame game.
Yeah.
Last year, this was a guy who had more interceptions than TDs. Took a step backwards, in fact, from his freshman year. Having a new quarterbacks coach in Glenn Thomas has really helped him, but that Notre Dame game gave him confidence. Even though he threw an interception in that game, it gave him confidence. He can play with anybody, and he's taken off since then.
You're right. And in your junior year, I know for most players, I know it happened for me, the game just starts to slow down. Your understanding, and it's a lot easier to take what you learn in the film room and bring it out to the football field and actually utilize it and use it to your advantage. And you can tell that his development and his growth has led him to that position.
Memphis has not returned a kick for a touchdown since 1996. And a flag comes in as Kraft is taken down shy of the 35.
Personal foul, targeting a defenseless player, number 40, the receiving team. Plays under review.
That would be Alan Cross. And again, if the targeting call is upheld, Cross would be ejected or suspended for the first half of next week's game. Memphis already lost one player in the second half to targeting. That was Jackson Dillon, their hybrid D-end linebacker. And that was a critical loss. Cross is another guy. He's a Swiss Army knife for this team. Memphis closes out the season against 1-9 SMU next week. And Justin Fuente told us his team, in his eyes, still has a lot to play for. Yes, a group of 5 berth to a New Year's Six Bowl is off the table. Yes, a conference championship is out of the question. But he talked about pride. He talked about getting to 9 and 10 wins. Last year they won 10 wins, which tied a school record. With one more win, Memphis would have the winningest 2-year run in program history.
And for any competitor, you know, it doesn't matter what point of the ball game. You come out here to win matchups. You come out here to beat the other guy. And if you're Memphis, finding motivation, yeah, I know this has been a disappointing season. We're trying to look for it. Number 40 is what we're trying to identify.
You see anything there?
I don't see anything. Maybe it's later. The play's not over yet. Let's see here.
That doesn't tell us much. Does not appear we have a replay
Maybe they
of the call.
Maybe they called it on the wrong guy. That happens sometimes. Officials make mistakes as well.
You can't get this one wrong, though.
I agree. Yeah, this is a big one. You're taking somebody out of the ball game with a targeting call.
And for the first half of the next game.
Very true. And that might be why they're deliberating so long, just trying to find an angle. But from what we saw and the angles we have, it's very hard to find number 40 targeting.
31-12, Temple leading Memphis. Owls on their way to their 9th win of the season. Memphis staring at its 3rd consecutive loss after an 8-0 start.
I think our truck has done a good job of tracking it down. Let's watch the middle of our screen here, coming from the right side. There it is right there, the contact. Absolutely. On number 10 for Temple. And once again, yeah, it looks like you led with the head because he's blocking, much like you do when tackling. And that's going to be a tough call to make there.
Was there forcible contact? That's obviously the big question when they look at this. Was it above the shoulders? Let's take another look.
It's going to come from the right side of your screen. You'll see it here. That's close.
Yeah, that looked to get Samuel Benjamin in the helmet.
Yeah, and Benjamin is in a crouch position there. It looked like he was breaking down. That doesn't help because he's lower.
The ruling on the field will stand.
Yep.
By rule, number 40 has been disqualified.
You launch yourself, crown of the helmet, above that neck and shoulder area. And Memphis has now lost 2 players in this game to targeting. So both Jackson Dillon and Alan Cross will miss the first half of the SMU game next week. If you're ejected in the first half, the ejection is just for that game only, but if the ejection occurs in the second half, it carries over to the first 30 minutes of the next contest. Henderson with the call on first down as the chants of overrated start cascading from Lincoln Financial Field. Paxton Lynch, you can tell he just hasn't been 100% today after taking that hit in the first quarter. Frazier scampers out of bounds. Memphis still putting up a fight. Well, if you're a Temple fan, you're probably paying attention to the game following this one. Houston and UConn. The Owls play UConn next week. And for Temple, they've got to keep winning because it's probably highly unlikely that South Florida will lose to UCF next week. And for Temple to get to the conference championship game, they need either a win against UConn or a loss by South Florida. And UCF, South Florida's opponent next week, is 0-11. And if you watch that game Thursday night against ECU, it doesn't look like the Knights have much fight left either.
We had them earlier in the year, and you're right. I think it's, at this point, it's an opportunity, definitely, for them to come out and win a ball game. UCF has just been depleted by injuries. The AD steps down, the head coach resigns. There's been a lot going on with that program that I'm sure has affected the way that those young men are feeling towards football right now.
Temple has to finish a game better than South Florida because the Bulls owned the tiebreak with the head-to-head win last week. And UConn gets Houston today. And Houston could be a potential foe for Temple in the conference championship should the Owls get there. Miller squirts his way across the 35 for a first down, a gain of 18. Final 2 minutes of regulation here at the Link. If Temple comes out of the East, the West will be decided next week. It'll be the winner of the Navy-Houston game. And talking to Memphis head coach Justin Fuente yesterday, he raved about Navy. He said, listen, sometimes with the service academies, you know they're going to be disciplined. You know those guys will work hard. They don't often have the athletes to compete at a high level. He said he was blown away by the caliber of athletes that Navy has.
Well, we know about their character, and that's without question.
And they've got a quarterback in Keenan Reynolds who just set the FBS career record for touchdowns. They've got a couple of fullbacks. They got a couple of wingbacks, and they run that option at you, which is not easy to defend.
I remember when I played in the Big 12 when Nebraska ran the option at the time. And it's just, in a world of football right now where not a lot of teams do that, it's so hard to plan for. And you've got to make sure that you've got a man on every option on every play, which thins out the defense and forces you to now have a responsibility and less likely to run the football. And they do a great job of executing it as well.
Frazier is tackled for a loss by Avery Williams, the senior, or rather the junior out of Baltimore. Final minute here at the Link. Paxton Lynch does have a streak on the line, 15 consecutive games with a TD pass. First time this season Memphis held without a touchdown. Only 226 yards. That's less than half of the Tigers' season average.
And when you look at it, you look at both of these two coaches on both sidelines, Matt Rule and Justin Fuente. Their names have been thrown out on a lot of jobs. This may be the last matchup we see between these two teams with these two coaches roaming the sidelines.
There's a lot of good coaches in this league. Now we saw two of them this afternoon. Temple needed to win. They got the win with a victory next week against UConn. Matt Rule's Owls will play for the conference championship. Final score from the Link: Temple 31, Memphis 12. Houston, UConn follows this game, but first we go to the studio and Brendan Fitzgerald.